Welcome back to the program. So let's talk a little bit more about Iran right now, okay? A couple things. First and foremost, as I said on yesterday's show, I don't believe that we are negotiating with the Iranian regime at all, okay? I think that all of this is being done as a shadow diplomacy and to fool and to give false hope to the Iranian regime to catch them off guard so that they can be wiped out. Okay? That is my guess. As far as the quote present or gift that President Trump was talking about, from what I understand, it was the safe passage of a tanker going through the Straits of Hormuz. That's all it was. It wasn't money. It wasn't anything else. It was allowing a tanker to go through the Straits of Hormuz, as far as I know. As far as the rest of this and the negotiations and all the different things that we're talking about here, I don't believe any of it. Because with President Trump in particular, he says one thing and he does something else. Just like in the lead up to the war on February 28th. What did he say for weeks? Well, we'll see. They want to make a deal. We'll see what happens. We're not sure. We'll see what happens. Meanwhile, what was he doing? USS Gerald Ford, USS this naval ship's coming in, this fleet's coming in, right? So he was preparing, he was bringing everything in, and the next thing you know, they don't know when. They think it's going to happen at night. It happens during the day. It wipes out Khamenei, and it wipes out 49 others, right? This is the shadow diplomacy that President Trump smartly has perfected. It is the art of the deal in some respects, but on a geopolitical, scale. Now, what is he doing now? The same exact thing. He's got the 31st evidentiary expedition Marines coming in, about 3,000 of them strong. He's got the 82nd Airborne paratroopers coming in, about 22 to 2,600 strong. And he's got the USS Tripoli, which is, again, an anti-missile, anti-submarine amphibious attack fleet. But yet, they want to make a deal. We're talking to them. We're negotiating with them. We think we can do this. We think we can do that. They gave us a gift. They gave us a present. All these different things that he's saying. He's creating paranoia with the people that are hiding underground and in caves. Who's talking? Who's talking to the Americans? We keep hearing this. Are you talking to the Americans? Are you talking to the Americans? Who's talking to the Americans? Oh my God, what's going on? That's what's happening, okay? Now, I want to pivot into something else. This lie, this absolute prevarication and lie that somehow the Iranian regime posed no imminent threat. Let's squash this right now with historical context, and let's do it not with an American, but with someone that has to live and had to live under the threat from the Iranian regime all these years. Okay? This is an article from Sarah bin Ashur, former advisor to Bahrain's ambassador to London. No imminent threat. I'm going to have to pull the print up because I can't see anymore these days. No imminent threat, declares the skeptics. An illegal war, they insist. Such phrases like this betray a profound misunderstanding of the history and responsibility of the region. They treat sovereignty as a shield for aggression and imminence, as a stopwatch that only starts once the warhead may be in flight. We in the region of Arab states, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Oman, and others ought to know better. We have lived with the Iranian threat for 47 years. Since 1979's revolution, the Islamic Republic has pursued a doctrine of exportable upheaval with methodical persistence. It has armed, trained, and directed a transnational network of proxies that stretches from the Levant to the Horn of Africa, from the streets of Baghdad to the tri-border regions of South America and onward into Asia. Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, the various militia groups of Iraq's al-Shabaab, and a constellation of smaller but also lethal affiliates have served not as rogue actors but as calibrated, sophisticated instruments of Tehran's will. These groups have sown chaos on a truly global scale. The 1983 bombing of the U.S. Embassy and Marine Barracks in Beirut, Lebanon, which killed 304 people, including 241 American servicemen and 58 French paratroopers, in the deadliest terrorist attack on Americans until, of course, 9/11. The 1992 bombing of the Israeli embassy in Buenos Aires and the 1994 truck bomb attack on the Jewish Community Center, which together claimed more than 114 lives in Argentina's deadliest terrorist outrage. The 1996 Khobar Towers bombing in Saudi Arabia that killed 19 American airmen. The supply of explosively formed penetrators that killed and maimed hundreds and thousands of U.S. and coalition troops in Iraq and Afghanistan from 2003 to 2011, and the plot to assassinate the Saudi ambassador in Washington, the 2019 Aramco strikes, and the relentless campaigns against international shipping in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Oman. These are not isolated incidents, but chapters in a single, uninterrupted strategy of regional domination and global subversion. Qasem Soleimani, the late slain Quds Force commander and architect of the Axis of Resistance, openly boasted of this empire. In a message to his American counterpart back in the day, he declared, "Dear General Petraeus, you should know that I, Qasem Soleimani, control the policy for Iran with respect to Iraq, Lebanon, Gaza, and Afghanistan." That assertion, with the regime's repeated claims of commanding an axis of resistance spanning multiple Arab capitals, reveals Tehran's long-standing ambition for homogeny across the region and into the eastern Mediterranean. To dismiss this record as lacking of any imminence misunderstands the concept in the nuclear age. A responsible leader does not wait until the missile is on the launch pad and the warhead is heading towards them. As former Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett observed in his recent interview with Christiane Amanpour, responsible leaders, if you wait for the threat to be imminent, it will be too late. Ethically, this position is anchored in the just war tradition. As Michael Walzer demonstrated in his seminal work, Just and Unjust Wars, states like individuals have the moral right to defend themselves against violence that is imminent, but not yet actual. Quote, "For aggression often begins without shots being fired or borders being crossed. Both individuals and states can rightfully defend themselves against violence that is imminent, but not actual. Waiting for the first blow when an adversary possesses both declared intent, death to America, death to Israel, 47 years, I'd say that's intent, and advancing nuclear capabilities is not moral prudence, it is moral abdication." Iran, possesses both the technical capabilities, advanced uranium enrichment, ballistic missile production lines, and a clandestine weapons program long documented by the IAEA, and the explicit intent voiced repeatedly by its supreme leader and Revolutionary Guard commanders. Add to this an extensive missile arsenal capable of reaching every capital of the surrounding region and beyond, and the calculus changes immediately. Imminence in the nuclear age is not a matter of hours, but of irreversible momentum. Nor is the charge of illegality sustainable. Critics invoke Article 51 of the UN Charter, which authorizes self-defense if an armed attack occurs. Yet the Charter in itself describes this right as inherent, a pre-existing principle of international law that has always encompassed anticipatory action when the necessity is clear and the danger existential. The classic precedent remains the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis. President Kennedy imposed a naval quarantine on Cuba to prevent Soviet nuclear missiles from becoming operational, acting before any launch, not after. No credible legal authority has ever branded that decisive intervention unlawful. The same logic governs here. Iran's decades-long pattern of armed attacks, direct and by proxy, combined with its nuclear ambitions and advances, satisfies every test of necessity and proportionality under international law. General Jim Mattis, in his firing line interview, dismantled the illegality argument with the clarity of a commander who confronted this threat for decades. One could probably never make a charge that this is an illegal war, given Iran's long pattern of direct and proxy assaults on its neighbors, on American forces, and on allied interests across the region. These are not hypothetical grievances. They are documented records of aggression that previous administrations completely ignored, although they did do sanctions that proved porous and diplomacy that proved naive, allowing it to fester longer than it should. The result was not peace, but emboldenment. We in the region did not seek this war, nor did we initiate it. For years, we counseled against military confrontation, exercising a restraint that has exceeded even our own critics' expectations. We did not so much from illusion come from this decision, but from a pragmatic assessment of the risks. The sudden collapse of the current theocracy, absent any real alternative, could plunge Iran into civil war, unleashing waves of refugees, radicalism, and instability across our borders. Its ballistic missile arsenal and deeply entrenched proxy networks might fracture into even more dangerous splinter groups, turning a contained threat into a hydra of uncontrolled violence. Today, we absorb provocations, drone swarms, missile barrages, economic sabotage against a history of flagrant aggression that had justified retaliation long ago. Yet we are pursuing every diplomatic channel precisely to avert such chaos. Nonetheless, let there be no mistake. When the Islamic Republic turned its weapons directly and unprovoked against its neighboring territories, our shipping lanes, and our citizens, the calculus shifted. Unlimited restraint is no longer prudence, lest it be confused with surrender. The gloves have come off, because the alternative, endless appeasement of an aggressor that has already crossed every single red line, poses an even greater peril. The campaign now underway is neither precipitous nor unlawful. It is the overdue correction of a strategic imbalance that earlier hesitancy only worsened. It is unfashionable in some quarters to acknowledge that President Trump has done what multiple preceding administrations, Republican and Democrat alike, would not or could not do. Decades of half measures allowed Iran's nuclear program to advance, its proxy empire to entrench itself, and its ideology of resistance to metastasize. The cost has been borne disproportionately by the people of the region, by the Lebanese, by the Yemenis, caught in proxy crossfire, and by Israelis living under the perpetual shadow of annihilation. To pretend otherwise is to rewrite history in real time. The states of the region stand ready, as always, for a stable and prosperous Middle East, free of homogenic ambition. We seek no wider conflagration, but we will not feign blindness to this threat that has defined our security landscape for nearly half a century. Here's the end. True legality and true responsibility lie not in waiting for the purpose casse belli to arrive gift-wrapped in a mushroom cloud, but in acting when the evidence of capability, intent, and historical conduct is overwhelming. Iran's revolution exported war. The present campaign seeks at long last to contain it. The states of the region understand this. The world ought to listen. Now, the reason I read all of that is because the countries around Iran have had enough. They have had enough with this regime. I'm even hearing that Uganda, yes, Uganda is going to be sending troops to fight against the Iranians because they, quote, want to protect the Israelis, end quote. Saudi Arabia has said that they are planning on joining into this. The United Arab Emirates may want to join into this. Bahrain may want to join into this. And perhaps a few others, maybe Kuwait, maybe Jordan may want to get involved. So what I'm trying to say is the proxy of terror and the Iranian regime is no longer one of the, quote, Arab allies or neutrals in the region. These countries now understand if there's ever going to be, quote, peace in the Middle East, the Iranian regime must end. As simple as that. And I will end with this. There are 290,000 people in Iran, pro-regime Iranians, that still want the Iranian regime to continue, have raised $25 million. $25 million they have raised to assassinate our great President Trump. So the next time there is a rally in Tehran or anywhere else in the country of Iran, and these people come by the hundreds and thousands to celebrate in a pro-regime rally, I say, let's get out the drones and let's kill them all. That's right, kill them all. Because if you don't kill them now, you're going to have to kill them later when there's boots on the ground. And if they're stupid enough to rally in the middle of a war for the failing regime, the murderous regime, guess what? They're enemy combatants, and some of those people are going to be the next men up that are going to continue to fight, that are going to continue to fund the proxies and everything else, and continue to deny the wonderful people of Iran their long sought and fought liberation. So I say, kill them all. Kill them all. And if you can use the drones and you can wipe out hundreds of thousands of them in one shot, by all means do it. Because this regime has to end. Period. End of story. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.